Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video. So I'm going to be standing for this one. I've changed to a standing desk. Well, I had a standing desk for my office stuff, and then I made it part of my gaming setup as well. So might be a few videos of me standing. I'm actually enjoying it a little bit at the moment. Getting healthy while playing video games. Anyway, side note, sidebar over, hope you're all well. We're going to get stuck into today who I recommend True Awakening. Now, as you guys can see, I haven't got heaps. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sound about 7? So I've done a few now, and I'll kind of give a couple of tips and tricks on how to go about it and kind of what I've learned and what my recommendations are, right? So first off, if you guys don't know how to True Awaken, what you need to do is you need to go to someone that's already fully Super Awakened. There's a True Awakening piece here. It needs to take 10 legendary seals, which you can get from, Hero Arena or, Labyrinth or pretty much anything nowadays. They're also used to obviously LR people as well. So that's probably the first key point I would say is be aware that you need 100 LR seals to LR someone. 100, what is it? Legendary seals to True Awaken, to LR someone. Jeez Louise. This is going to get confusing. You need 3 of these True Awakening coins, and you need 100 of these memory crystals for each race. Now you get these through doing the Demon King battle, which is this. And you get a different amount for each. Oh, I haven't done it this week. I need to do it this week. And you can do it through each one of these. And then depending on which level you get is depending on what memory crystal box you get and how many of them you get, right? And it'll depend on how many you get. And then it's super random. So you could get a bunch of demon ones. You could get a bunch of human ones, unknown. Like, it all varies. And you need to make sure you have the right one. So I've got 61, 50. I'm going the wrong way. So then the giant as well. Where is she? There she is. 241, so I've got enough to do a giant, right? But I just haven't got around to doing giants. I could actually do 2 giants if I wanted to, but I needed more of these. I find the easiest way to get these is actually through the gold. Where is it? These. I actually find it's through this. I find I don't really use the gold coin shop for too much more, apart from pretty much auto clear tickets. So what I would do is when I'd save up from summoning, as I get to 180 of these, and then I'd have enough for a True Awakening of someone. So that's kind of my thought process behind it. I don't think it's worth it any other way. So yeah, let's without further ado, just get into what my thought process is around who I True Awakened and why I recommend you do things a certain way, right? From my experience. Now, obviously you have to be a little bit strategic with this because, as we were talking about, I clicked on the one with the True Awakening so we can't see. As we're talking about, you need to kind of balance the memory crystals, right? Because you only get a certain amount from each Demon King run. Now, obviously, you can use coins to actually do more Demon King runs during the week if you want to True Awaken more people. But I found that that's not super necessary. Like, True Awakening is kind of a little bit cosmetic, right? The only thing that True Awakening gives you is it gives you 1,000 combat class and 10% damage resistance. Now that's pretty good in terms of the damage resistance, and the CC is nice as well, but it's not really necessary. Like, you can still play the game perfectly fine without it. I've only just started to True Awaken people recently, right? So I'm going to make that as a caveat to this. You don't really have to True Awaken anyone. However, if you do decide to True Awaken someone, this is what I recommend. The first thing I recommend is pick someone you like. That's what I did. My first True Awakening was Tyr. Now, Tyr actually kind of made sense because you got a little bit of extra CC, which doesn't really matter, but it's the damage reduction that helped him because he's obviously got a taunt in the unknown team. He's one of my favorite unknown units. I've given him full 15%, crit defense gear because I don't need defense because I'm going second. Right, so I've given him full 15% attack rolls. I actually need to re-roll this a little bit. I've maxed out all his gear, right? I just really like Tyr. So that was my choice for my first one. I wanted to give him the shiny star because he was my favorite. I also really like the unknown team. Now, so I'd start with that, to be honest, if that's what you want to do. However, if you want to go completely tactically, what I would probably recommend doing is starting with the Sins team. And the reason why I say that is because, let's get to it. With the Sins team, your general rule of thumb to run is you're going to be running Melee. You're probably going to be running the new UR go through if you've got it. You're going to be running Escanor, and then you're probably going to be running Merlin in the back. Now, I've obviously not done it this way, as you can tell, but that's probably what I'd recommend, and obviously I've got Barn as well. So the reason why I say that is because, one, you're working with 3 UR festival units, so you're already going to have a decent CC, but you're also Sins are most common, right? So it means if you get the True Awakening on them, you're going to get the extra 3k in CC when it comes to the PvP fights, and that does actually kind of help a lot. The other reason I recommend it is because they're all pretty much different races. even if you do like Deanne as well, right? But like they're all different races. So it means that you can spread your True Awakening memory crystals out, right? Doesn't mean you have to kind of save up and really hope you're getting a lot. So that's kind of what would happen, like, for example, if you did the human team, right? So I haven't even done Arthur yet, which is stupid on my behalf. I should have done Arthur. Where even is he? I cannot see. I can see other Arthurs. Chaos Arthur. There he is. Jeez. So Chaos Arthur, right? So like if you're doing the full human team, you need to have full memory crystals on all of them. So that's probably where I'd recommend starting. I actually quite like using the catastrophes. The other thing I'd probably recommend looking at as well, that's one option you can go down. You're like, you know what? Okay, I've got the Sins team built. Let's just make them even more built, get a higher CC and do better in PvP. And then also, you know, be able to spray those memory crystals out. The other thing I'd probably recommend doing as well is if you've got a team where maybe you're using an older unit in that team, then I'd recommend True Awakening that unit. So for example, the next one for me is probably going to be Estarossa. And the reason for that is I really like using Estarossa, especially with the new Chandler, wherever he is, and obviously Melly as well. So if I do Estarossa, it means he gets an increase in damage reduction, which I think is going to help him in PvP. Now, is it going to help him a massive amount? Who knows, right? But I think that's kind of where my next thought process is. The other thought process, of course, is you probably want to put it, as I kind of mentioned with Tyr, you want to put it on your taunt units. I think having it on your taunt units is really strong just for that damage reduction, again, what we're talking about, right? So for example, if I was a massive humans runner, I would probably have it on Arthur already, because it means that he gets the higher CC, which will also help him go first, but then he also has the damage reduction when he gets that taunt in place. So that's also super helpful. Same thing with, like, for example, Naofumi, if I was running Naofumi, right? So that's kind of what you want to think about when it comes to doing this. It's like, okay, like I said, for me, I started with who I liked the most and who was kind of one of the main points of my team. It worked well because I used a lot of unknowns and he obviously had a taunt. So that kind of played in as well and helped me out. But then also from there, I basically was like, okay, let me start spreading it out. And the way I started spreading it out, for me, in my head, mentally, was like, okay, if I'm using the human team, who's maybe going to be not as strong? Okay, Barn is maybe going to be, you know, with Arthur and the new Escanor, he maybe isn't going to be able to do as much, or he maybe needs to have a little bit more damage reduction than the other two. So that was my thought process. For these two, honestly, these two were kind of just because I wanted the extra CC and I could do it. Like I said, I don't really think Melly, I don't know if you can hear my washing machine in the background, it's making heaps of noise, sorry team. But I don't know if Melly necessarily needs it. Like, yes, it's nice for his CC, but like with all his little, what are they called? The little black ball things he gets, the dark energy, yeah. All the dark energy stacks he gets, that increases all his, what is it, defense-related stats. So like he doesn't really need the damage reduction, I don't think, or I haven't really found, especially in like PvE content, he doesn't need it at all. But I did it for a bit of extra CC for the Sins team. So honestly, next on my list is probably Arthur, Gotha, Estarossa. I should probably do Deanne, or like a giant, but I don't really use giants. So I think I'm honestly just going to end up with a bunch of these, because these are the harder things to get, and same with the LR coins. Like, these are your more precious resources. You're just going to accumulate these by doing the Demon King boss every week. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. It was kind of a bit of a ramble, so I hope you guys stayed with me, but that's kind of what I recommend for you guys in terms of True Awakening. Now, I will also triple caveat this with, if you're looking at True Awakening a couple of units or LRing someone, I would 100% recommend LRing someone, to be honest. Like, I think True Awakening is cool, but it's a little bit cosmetic. Look, maybe you can make an argument that if you're going to do, you know, 2 or 3 True Awakenings versus, like, I don't know, LR Galland or something, then sure, maybe you probably don't need to do it. But I just feel like with the extra boost of CC that this gives you, and with the damage reduction effect of True Awakening, I don't really see it's worth it. Like I said, it's a good boost for your CC just to help you get over the line. But yeah, because like obviously, like my Escanor's not really that well built, right? Like I haven't really spent too much time building up my Escanor, but he still sits at 73k CC, right? I've only got the basic stuff for him. But that's 70. He'd be at 72k CC, right? Same thing with Melly, right? He's up over 75k now because I have a decent amount of stuff for him with this gear. But but he'd be at 74k. So it does help when it comes to PvP, sorry, excuse me, because if you've got 4 units, then you've got, 4k extra CC, which might tip you over the edge, it might help, and you've got all that damage reduction stack. But I think LRing units is a better call. But hopefully you guys have enough legendary seals and stuff now to LR everyone, or at least been working your way through it, because, we've been getting quite a few lately. They're not as hard to come by as they used to be. So, yeah, that's kind of my thing. I would start with the units you like, or the taunt units in your team, or then work your way through the sins, and then basically start picking units that you want to put in your team that maybe are potentially a little bit older that need that damage reduction, or your taunt units. Bit of a ramble. I hope that helped, guys. Like I said, I would probably recommend with your True Awakenings doing them sparingly, because I don't think the resources are necessarily worth it, especially if you don't have a whale or anything. You don't have a massive amount of resources to spare, because LRing units is kind of key, and maybe you want those gold coins for something else, or maybe you're not as good at the Demon King battle as you'd like to be. On that note, if you guys want another Demon King updated guide, let me know down in the comments below. I've done a few, but it might be helpful for some of you, I'm not sure. Regardless, I hope that helped, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers.